One of Australia's last great frontiers is found in the far north of Western Australia. It's a spectacular and beautiful country. Monsoonal rivers snake their way across the land beneath rugged mountain ranges. Spectacular waterfalls cascade continuously through the long, dry season between the rains. Coastlines with beaches, bays, and rocky headlands stretch endlessly into the distance, like the long, dusty roads that traverse this massive and remote region. Our journey begins here in Broome, the southern gateway to this remarkable wilderness.
We've had one of our poly pipes for the shower and sullage to go, snapped in half. Been all around town looking for some rather unique fittings. We're going to make a dodgy job of it. The tape job was Wilms's first aid to the catastrophe, which was very effective.
It's good tape, I'll tell you that much.
Other repairs are carried out by professionals, involving a burned out something in the fridge and inadequate wiring to the truck. Broome is a very popular holiday destination and has a rich history in the pearling industry dating back to the 1880s. The town is internationally bona fide with the Golden Arches seal of approval. It's also well equipped with supplies for long-range excursions. The Prime West Boulevard security strongman is Captain Vigilance. He's approaching now to tell me off for filming. He says I'm creeping people out and disrespecting Aboriginal culture.
Gantham Point is a rocky spit of land with a makeshift lighthouse. At very low tide, one can apparently see fossilized dinosaur footprints.
Popular Cable Beach gets its name from a telegraph line that stretched from here all the way across to Singapore. Folks gather in hordes to enjoy the setting of the sun while trains of camels carry tourists along the open sands as water laps at their feet. Most traffic restricts itself to the back of the beach, but there is always one. When you come out here for a sunset, don't think that you're going to be on your own and that you won't attract friends, sometimes directly in your field of view.
We're doing the quintessential Broome thing and enjoying a couple of beers here at sunset on Cable Beach. But tomorrow we're going to leave the relative luxury of this town and head north to the edge of the Dampier Peninsula at Cape Leveque. In this episode, we'll be exploring the Dampier Peninsula. The roads will be rough, so the caravan will be staying in Broome until our return. Our next destination will be the other side of King Sound to the rustic outpost of Derby. The road to Cape Leveque starts off paved, but there are ominous signs for the journey ahead. Once on the dirt, we encounter some fierce corrugations. The side of the road has become a graveyard for empty shells of vehicles that have succumbed to the punishment. Blown tires and busted rims lay about the track, further testimony to the awful conditions. Even so, some brave adventurers drag expensive boats to and fro along the dreaded road. As is usual for us, the journey is a slow, old, careful grind, aiming for Middle Lagoon halfway up the Cape.
Middle Lagoon is an agreeable campsite with adequate facilities. It is set alongside a stunning bay on the peninsula's western side. We set up our little camp under a shady tree. The Interceptor is down off the roof and readied for aquatic expeditions. We're certainly not the first to find out about this place. It is quite popular. Local critters are busy with their daily duties. Straw-necked ibises, gulls and crows all assist in keeping the grounds clean and tidy. Besides the sweeping bay with its magnificent beach, Middle Lagoon also has some nice rocky headlands and small cliffs, offering wonderful views for some campers who look like they might be dug in for quite some time. In addition, across to the far side of the bay is a small estuary offering yet another habitat to explore for wildlife and fishing. Tidal influences are even more extreme here in the Kimberley, and the bay empties out, revealing rippled sand flats and rugged rocks. Some are weathered razor sharp like big nasty spikes. Yet all this gets inundated at high tide and becomes a completely different environment.
We beach launch the Interceptor into the lagoon, and as the winds are light until mid-afternoon, we decide to risk an open ocean run down the coast to a larger estuary and bay called Trappers Inlet. There's company along the way, including a very suspicious sea eagle, wondering what the hell we're up to.
The Interceptor hurtles into the estuary at reckless speeds, zooming along the main channel with a rising tide until a location is spotted that I declare is potentially fishy. Several casts with the fly rod, and against all odds, there's a strike. Wilms is overcome with excitement. Then, on the next cast, a hookup. A grueling struggle ensues with this silvery monster of the mangroves. Then, to my utter disbelief, it's landed, looking remarkably smaller than my initial guesstimation. Oh, a nice trevally, but he's going back in the water. Still rolling along with the good fortune, another aquatic predator is fooled into taking a hook. The protest is great, and the victim delivers a solid fight, as trevally always do.
After the fishing cools off, we cruise through the channels for a bit of an exploration. Raised like the sandy floor, but it's the extensive cover of the tangled mangrove roots and branches that most of the fish enjoy. As deep as the water is now, these mangroves will most likely be fully exposed and out of the water by low tide, which is happening now. The current begins to turn and flow out to sea, meaning it's time for us to return to camp. Sunsets in the tropic are majestic. The atmosphere is heavy with smoke from the dry season fires, enhancing the deep red glow. These rocky cliffs at the campsite offer superb views of the event. We get the added display of the dolphins hunting and frolicking in the bay as the day draws to its dramatic end. Several hours after sunset, a huge moon rises, drowning out the stars.
An early morning wake-up call from a rascally crow has Wilms up stoking the fire and making cheese and tomato jaffles. The ibises are already back at work, while our activities are observed by a mistletoe bird and a singing honeyeater hunting bugs in a sandpaper fig. Next on the agenda is an excursion around to the estuary to see who else is out and about. The mangroves are quite productive. Zebrafinch, long-tailed finch, bar-shouldered dove, and a white-gaped honeyeater.
Trying an old Twitcher's trick of using bird calls to get the target close from after the mangrove golden whistler. Been having a little trouble of late getting close to birds, so I'm trying a new tactic, using the Land Rover as a mobile bird hide.
The rough roads continue as we head farther north when, to our surprise, something very odd happens. Is that pavement up ahead?
It looks like it bloody well is too. That is very odd. 90 kilometres of rough dirt, heavily corrugated road, and we're coming to bitumen. It's a little bit disappointing. We're at Cygnet Bay Pearl Farm. Apparently they have a restaurant. We're going in for lunch and I'm going to make myself look respectable. There's gold.
Cygnet Bay is a pearl farm and one of the few places on the Cape where you can buy a beer. Once in the restaurant, we enjoy a delicious salad to nurture our road-weary bodies.
It turns out if you want to stay at the campsite at the top of the Cape in the busy season, you better make a booking. For tonight at least, we're staying at a very sparse and expensive campsite, not too far away. Might be worth a punt here. Running with poppers and plugs, chances are never good. This place is not without some interesting sights, making it worth the stay. Spherical Mycteris crabs, or light blue soldier crabs, scurry about the beach. We encounter an octopus, stranded by the tide in need of rescue. And, feeding on the conspicuous orange fruits of this tree, are rose-crowned fruit doves, a species that's been on my hit list for a long time. Difficult to see in the canopy despite their pretty colours. Keeping an open ear out for this soft call is probably the best means to identify them. The ultimate goal for travellers to the Dampier Peninsula is Cape Leveque, which although is not at the very top of the peninsula, it is as far north as your average tourist is allowed to go. The Cape has its own distinctive look, with low-lying orangey-red sandstone cliffs that seem to glow at sunset. This is all Aboriginal land, and when we arrive at the campsite we see the flag flying proudly. Black people, a red earth, and a golden sun.
Being the main destination, this camp is a different animal altogether, offering not just campsites but lofty cottages for those with a slightly higher budget. Cooljaman Camp even has an airstrip for those wanting to bypass the teeth-rattling road from Broome altogether. Cooljaman has a historical lighthouse, an air pump station for the beach drivers, and a posh restaurant that you can forget about if you fail to make a booking. The eastern side of the Cape is safer for swimming and boat launching, as it's shallower and generally more protected from the wild ocean to the west. Many more feathered friends reveal themselves on the journey along the beach. A Brahminy kite rests on the rocks not far from some eastern reef egrets, hunkered down looking like Skeksis from the film The Dark Crystal. Along the shoreline prowl both pied and sooty oyster catchers. Beach thickneys lurk amid the low-lying dunes, and plenty of redneck stints scurry about the sand flats.
Even small lapping waves can crash over the interceptor's low transom, so the bow needs to be quickly turned seaward. On our quest for the big catch, we start trolling. Even some are in on the action. Across the corals are trevally and schools of longtoms showing no interest until at last we hook into something. Oh, spat me at the last. Bugger. There's another slow day fishing in northern waters. Sunrise on the eastern side is a special event that is generally quiet, with only a few hardy souls out and about. However, sunset on the west is where it's all at, and good numbers of fellow travellers front up for this attraction. The walk along the beach to the top of the Cape needs to be timed with the tides, or you'd risk being washed away. The wonders of the Dampier Peninsula and Cape Leveque make the effort to get there well worth it. With the van back on the tow hitch, we find ourselves heading east along the Great Northern Highway towards the town of Derby, ambitiously situated on a shallow spit of land surrounded by vast mudflats and mangroves. It's one of only 3 towns in the Kimberley with a population of over 2,000 people, set on the eastern side of the King Sound, where the waters could well be classified as perilous. Just out of town is a giant historical boab tree once used as a prison lockup. Derby's little Corella population may well be the filthiest in the nation. The town jetty is a popular gathering point for fishermen and tourists alike, for good reason. While here, I've decided to undertake a fishing excursion to the outskirts of Derby with this chap, Jake Peacock, who claims himself the most renowned fisherman in the Kimberley. Jake lives out on the mudflats in a rickety cottage in the dry season and under a boab tree in Derby during the wet. We're making our way out to a place called Yeader Cutting, south of Derby. I'm in the company of Jake Peacock, who is one of the most renowned fishing guides, so he claims, in the Kimberley. He's going to instruct me on how to throw a cast net, collect live bait, and guarantees that we'll be catching some mega fish. The hunt for live bait begins as we prepare our nets. Jake's first off the starting blocks with a series of skillful, well-placed casts.
First catch.
With Mr. Peacock having already landed a fingerling, it's time for me to impress. Bugger! Shithouse! Another shot. It appears I might be in need of a few tips. We're going to get some professional instruction from the master caster, and I'm going to follow along. Hand it over to you, Jake.
Okay, here we go. So we've got a classic 8-foot spread on this net here. It's probably ideal for these Kimberley conditions. So you start off wrapping the hook just around your arm's length round, flat onto your hand there. Doing that so you get the same length all the way. Okay, now it's important when you get to the net, it's got to be really like untangled. So you sort of grab it at the end, dangle it a few times, and hopefully all the sinkers and that will be nicely spread. One around again. I prefer one long one. So I've got two, the one at the start. This way I've got a lot overhanging, and this will help when you throw the net. So then you grab one end of the net, make sure it's all untangled, fold it over into your open hand, keep one side towards you, and then on the other side you just grab it and you just keep winding it up. Now you can just go like maybe a foot or two, grab it down near the bottom, once again fold it over your hand so you've got it, and then that inside bit you grab that again close down to the bottom, and once again maybe a foot or two. Okay, then you're ready to go. It's just like throwing a rugby ball. Swing it back and you twist it over and you bring your right hand, you bring it over the top, and then hopefully we should get a good spread. Here we go.
Pro tips haven't helped me. I'm still as useless as mammary glands on a bullock. Derby has the highest tide variation in the country, and even this far inland it comes in fast. The rising river brings the bait fish. Along the banks come swarms of odd-looking little creatures with their googly eyes above the water's surface. Pop-eyed mullet are very nervous fish, as they are considered highly prized cuisine by nearly every predator in these scary waters. Not to be mistaken for the also googly-eyed mud skipper. They seem to do quite well out of the water for extended periods, and they can't be blamed for not wanting to be in there. Now we're seeing some action, as the water erupts with schools of small fish. Even the resident sea eagle is roused to have a closer inspection. Jake's got a count of 10 so far, and I've just gotten muddy. With our 10 bait fish, we relocate to a riverside camp. A delightful little dust bowl littered with trash and soiled toilet paper, beer cans and chip packets. Now it's time to set up the heavy rods to hunt the monstrous denizens of Yeader Cutting. Jake shows why he's the Kimberley's best with this precision cast. The lines are in, but to our complete surprise, nothing happens for a very long time. A diminutive mud crab is about our only customer, and even the sea eagle is getting bored, when suddenly, success.
Bloody Neil loves them.
Does he?
Yeah. He reckons the black fellas will eat those before they eat barra or salmon.
First catch of the day's a dirty old catfish called by some a gook-gook. I believe yeti cutting to be an offshoot of the Fitzroy River, a super secret fishing hole that everybody knows about. Eventually the day draws to an end and it's time to stoke up the fire and heat up some baked beans. I hope we remembered the can opener.
Don't worry, the Kimberley portion of our walkabout isn't over just yet. In the next episode, we're going to be headed to one of Australia's favorite four-wheel drive destinations, the Gibb River Road. In addition, we'll attempt to make it up to the Mitchell Plateau and Columbaroo. So be sure to join us. Until next time.